Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Module 2 of Strategic Management course. As we move forward in understanding the strategic management, it is crucial for us to understand that strategy is not only about planning. It is about how organizations think, act, react, and adapt. This brings us to the second module of Strategic Management course, which is Mintzberg 5 P's of Strategy. This module is a versatile framework which helps us to understand strategy from a different and multifaceted angle. By end of this module, students will be able to understand the concept and significance of Mintzberg 5 P's of Strategy. They will be able to apply the 5 P's framework in real-world strategic planning scenarios, and they will be able to analyze strategic decisions using the 5 P's model. This framework was given by Henry Mintzberg, who is a renowned strategic management researcher. Mintzberg observed that it is difficult for companies to formulate a good and effective strategy. So he proposed that strategy can be understood in 5 different yet related ways, which includes plan, ploy, pattern, position, and perspective. This model helps to understand strategy from different perspectives and angles, starting with the first P given by Henry Mintzberg, wherein strategy is considered as a plan. As a plan, strategy is something which is a deliberate course of action designed to achieve specific goals. They are something which are made in advance and always with a purpose. They are consciously developed. So, strategy as a plan is a how, a means of getting from here to there, a means of getting from their current position to their future aspiration. So, whatever we intend is what is strategy can be used as a plan. Strategy as a plan has following characteristics. They are forward-looking, they are detailed, they are made with a purpose, they are often formalized in documents like business plans. They also include about how resources will be allocated to different activities, what will be the timelines and milestones to achieve each and every activity, along with some contingency measures. So, repeating again, strategy as a plan is something which is intended, made in advance, detailed, developed consciously, and always with a purpose, that is, to achieve a certain goal or objective. For example, Amazon growth strategy. When Amazon was planning to achieve growth strategy, they devised a long-term plan for market penetration by focusing on adding more products to their portfolio, aggressive pricing, and logistics expansion. They implement that particular strategy which helped the company to increase its sales as well as profitability. So, therein Amazon used strategy as a plan in order to penetrate more into the market. Second P is strategy as a ploy. As a ploy, it is a short-term maneuver to outwit competitors. The purpose here is to create buzz in the market or to dissuade or discourage competitors. So repeating again, ploy is a short-term tactic which you implement in order to create buzz in the market, to discourage or dissuade your competitors. Basically, you want to disrupt the industry. So its characteristics include that ploy is tactical in nature and also they focused on immediate advantages or disrupting competition. As I said, ploy is all about creating buzz in the market. For example, Flipkart Big Billion Day. When Flipkart launched its Big Billion Day, the main purpose was to create buzz in the market to outperform the existing competitors in their industry. Just before the sale, aggressively inflating the price and then reducing the price during the sale time gave the impression on customers that this is something which is actual and real, and it created buzz in that market. Other example of this would be Amazon Lightning Deals. The limited time offer create a certain kind of urgency among people to make their purchases during that particular window. So this is also a ploy which is a short-term tactic to outwin or outsmart the competitor. Thirdly, Zepto 10 minutes delivery. Now, when Zepto entered, that was the time when there were many other e-commerce players. They were making delivery maybe in 1 day, 24 hours, 4 hours, 1 hour and so on. Zepto came out with the strategy of 10 minutes delivery and it created the buzz in the industry. And this strategy was successful as it was able to create limelight in the industry where there were already established players and they were able to capture huge market share from the existing players. Other example of this would be supermarkets BOGO offers. By BOGO we mean buy one, get one. So basically, even if the people are not willing to make their purchases, they purchase in bulk when such kind of offer is there on the products. So this is also a ploy which is for a shorter period of time and to create buzz in the market and to have an edge over their competitor. So in all the cases which we have discussed, strategy has been used as a ploy. Moving forward to next P of strategy, we have with us strategy as a pattern. As a pattern, strategy is some kind of consistency in behavior over a period of time, whether deliberate or emergent. So there will be a consistent pattern which will be observed. Actions or behavior of the company, whether it is planned or not. For example, there is a company who always end up in adding high-end luxury or premium segment products. So that company follows high-end strategy, where we can see a consistent pattern in their launches. Every time coming out with a premium quality product indicates that there is some kind of pattern, and that is what the strategy is the company is following, which is known as high-end strategy. Its characteristics include that here strategy is often identified retrospectively, that is, over a period of time. It indicates a realized strategy which is based on consistent decision making. Other example of this would be Mamaearth market strategy. Whenever Mamaearth launch any product, they make sure that that is something which is eco-friendly, toxin-free, made from natural raw material, and also it is something which is chemical free. So this they do as part of their pattern. And that consistency we can see in all of their products. As the products are for kids, so they market on this particular parameter that their products are eco-friendly, natural, toxin-free. In all of their advertisements, they highlight this particular thing. So that is part of a pattern, a consistent action and behavior. So therefore, we call strategy as a pattern, which is a third P given by Henry Mintzberg. Moving to next, that is the fourth P, strategy as a position. As a position, it means finding a niche in the market or environment in order to gain a competitive edge. It implies a specific means of locating a firm in its environment. That is, how you want to place yourself in the market. What kind of image you want to create in minds of customer is also part of position. So as a position, it is defined competitively. It can be your market position or your brand position. That is, whether you want to position yourself as a leader, number one, number two, or as a follower. So that will be market position with respect to the competitors. Or it could be your brand positioning, how you want to position or perceive your brand in the minds of customers. It could be whether you want to position yourself as a low cost provider or you want to position yourself as something who provide some unique or uniqueness, that is you are focusing on differentiation. So that is your brand positioning, whether you want to position yourself as a luxury brand or affordable brand, what exactly image you want to create in mind of customers, that is what is strategy as a position. Here characteristics include that company which is using strategy as a position focus on differentiation or cost leadership, which is with respect to their brand positioning. Also, it defines the organization interaction with the external environment, because again and again we are saying that this is about positioning yourself in the environment. What kind of image you want to create among customers, what kind of image you want to create among competitors, what kind of image you want to create among other stakeholders. It is all about creating an image. That is what is positioning. Example, Walmart low price strategy. Walmart has always positioned itself as a everyday low prices. Whenever they launch any product, they make sure that their prices are low in comparison to others. And that is what their philosophy is. Save money, live better. They've always worked in this regard so that people can save money and live a better life. So that is what their positioning is. That is a low cost provider. Other example of this would be IKEA, who always position itself as a provider of stylish furniture yet affordable, and they target at urban families and specifically nuclear families. That is what their target market is. So that is also the positioning, that is stylish but affordable or ready to assemble furniture. And last P is strategy as a perspective. As a perspective, it emphasizes the collective mindset or culture shaping the organization. It is basically the shared values or ethics which are shared across all the employees in the organization. This is also known as organizational culture, something which is part of DNA of the organization. That is what perspective is. Repeating again, perspective refers to shared values across the employees in a particular organization. This is something which is deeply rooted in them, and the entire organization value those principles or morals or guidelines. This is what strategy as a perspective means. So its characteristics include offering something which is intangible but deeply embedded in the organization DNA. Whatever this company will do, this particular culture will be reflected in their actions or their decisions. That is what we refer as organizational culture. It drives innovation, decision making, and behavior. Example of this can be Google innovative culture. Google has positioned itself always as a innovative company, and this is the culture of the organization. This is what their DNA is. At Google, the company have a policy of 20% flexi time. That is, all employees in the organization are required to spend 20% of their daily time in doing something innovative. And that is how they have always fostered experimentation and innovation, which is in line with their vision, that is, don't be evil. So that has become the part of organization culture. So herein, Google used the strategy of 20% time as their perspective in order to foster innovation and experimentation in the company. And all employees are completely involved in evolving this particular culture of the company. Other example of this could be ITC sustainability culture. We all know that ITC started as a tobacco company. However, in order to reduce their dependence on tobacco, the company diversified into various sectors. Those sectors which were considered as high priority sector from government point of view. They diversified into paper manufacturing, IT, hotel, hospitality, FMCG, and many more. They did this in order to reduce their dependence on tobacco and tobacco related products. But till date, company has more than 80% of revenue from tobacco. Still, this is the company which can always be associated with its sustainability culture. They have always integrated the sustainability initiatives as part of their core business strategy. Whatever they do, they always ensure that it aligns with triple bottom line. Now, what is triple bottom line? Triple bottom line is a concept in sustainability which focus on 3 P's, which includes profit, planet, and people. So these are 3 P's of triple bottom line. ITC always ensure that they earn their profit in aligned with taking care of people and planet. It is also referred as ESG framework, where E stands for planet, that is environment, S stands for social, which means people, and G stands for governance, that is profit. Every organization has these 3 main responsibilities. They have responsibility towards the environment from which they are taking resources. So it is their duty to use it and return it back to the environment. They have second responsibility towards people. That is their social responsibility. People within the organization and people outside the organization, where we talk about community development. And thirdly, for every business, profit is something which is important. So third responsibility is profit, that is good governance. This framework says that companies should focus on earning profit, but they should do it in a governed, in a transparent and an ethical way. Now, taking example of ITC, whatever strategies they implement, they make sure that it integrate with the ESG framework or triple bottom line. and in this way they have always fostered sustainability culture in the organization. All employees become part of the sustainability initiatives which the company take. So that is what is strategy as a perspective. So in nutshell, repeating again, what we have discussed till now is that for understanding strategy, it is not only that we have to think strategy from planning point of view. There are other dimensions, other perspectives which should be undertaken. Therefore, Henry Mintzberg gave this model of 5 P's of strategy, wherein he has defined strategy as a consciously and purposely developed plan which are made in advance and with a purpose. Secondly, it is a ploy to outmaneuver or outwin a competitor with a purpose to create buzz in the market. Thirdly, it is a pattern, a consistent pattern in actions or decisions, whether intended or not, whether deliberate or emergent, but there has to be a pattern. Then we have a position. Fourth P stands with position. Position defined either with respect to a competitor, in context of number of competitors, whether you want to be number 1 or 2, or you want to be a follower, or you want to be a leader, and with respect to markets, that is your brand positioning. Whether you want to position yourself as a low cost provider or a differentiator or a niche player. So that is what is positioning. And lastly, strategy as a perspective, that is a certain mindset of how to perceive the world, the shared values, norms, or which we can call it as organizational culture. This is what is 5 P's framework given by Henry Mintzberg. I hope you all have understood now that what can be the different angles or perspectives of formulating an effective strategy. Now, let's take this example. Consider this as an assignment wherein you are required to identify that which of the P has been highlighted in the strategy of McDonald's. So just read these statements and then we will discuss that which P can be assigned to which of the particular strategy. So the first point, which is McDonald's wants to be loved due to their slogan, "I'm loving it," and also to be number 1. Second strategy, the plan to win, growth strategies for McDonald's by opening new and improving current McDonald's restaurants. Third, expansion, expansion, expansion. McDonald's expand in every matter and world corner. The chance of growth is grasped at every time and any time. Fourth, McDonald's healthy living campaign, teaching customers to eat healthy. Thereby, McDonald's gain some goodwill by showing that they care about consumers' health. Thereby, they meet consumers' needs. And last, McDonald's has focused on absolute productive efficiency. The company has always stuck to its values and ideologies. By now, you all must have identified that which P can be associated with which of the strategy. So let's see, are you right or not? So if we talk about the first strategy, that is McDonald's wants to be loved due to their slogan, "I'm loving it," and also to be number 1. This is something which is related to its position. Both market position, that is with respect to the number of competitors, and brand position. They want to be famous for this slogan, "I'm loving it," And as we know now, we all always relate McDonald's with this particular slogan of I am loving it. So this is strategy as a position. Talking about second, the plan to win. Itself talk about the first P of Henry Mintzberg, that is plan. So what is their plan to win? Growth strategies for McDonald's by opening new and improving existing restaurant. So that is part of their plan. So here they have used this strategy as a plan. Third, expansion, expansion, expansion. McDonald's expand in every matter and world corner. The chance of growth is grasped at every time and any time. So if we look at the first three words, it highlights about some pattern. So herein, McDonald's has used this strategy as a pattern, where their focus has always been on expansion everywhere in the world. So that is part of their pattern strategy. Fourth, McDonald's. Then McDonald's Healthy Living Campaign, teaching consumers to eat healthy. And when we know what exactly McDonald's is feeding us, feeding unhealthy food and talking about eating healthy and running campaign, it is kind of a ploy where you are trying to create buzz in the market. You are trying to create a different kind of image in minds of customers, which is a short-term tactic. So whenever we take any kind of special campaign to spread some awareness, it's always a part of ploy. So here, McDonald's has used strategy as a ploy. Lastly, McDonald's has focused on absolute productive efficiency. The company has always stuck to its values and ideologies. So this is something where we are talking about its perspective. We all know that the most important value of all the employees of McDonald's is to ensure efficiency in their operation. So this is part of their organization culture. And also, they have always emphasized on values and ideologies. So it again talks about organizational culture. So here, the strategy is perspective. So with this, I believe that you all have understood the 5 P's framework. Moving on, next we talk about application of 5 P's in the real world. How this framework can be used for businesses and also in the personal strategy of individuals. So, the first application of this would be strategic planning using plan and position. For example, Tesla. Tesla devised a long-term plan to integrate solar panels and energy appliances with their electric vehicles in order to lead in the renewable energy transition. So basically, it was the part of a long-term plan which Tesla did in order to enter and in order to become a leader in renewable energy transition sector. So basically, they integrate solar panels and other energy appliances in their electric vehicles in order to lead this particular sector. So in this case, they have used strategy as a plan and as a position. As a plan, it is their long-term plan, and as a position, they want to lead that particular sector by focusing on their EVs. So strategy as a plan and as a position. Second application would be leveraging ploy in order to disrupt competitors. Many times Coca-Cola has used this particular strategy, wherein they have come out with some kind of limited flavors or some kind of special campaigns in order to distract Pepsi whenever Pepsi has tried to introduce a new product or some of their major events. Repeating again, Coca-Cola has done this thing many times, wherein they have come out with a special kind of discounts, special kind of flavors, or they have undertaken special campaigns in order to distract Pepsi. So this is as a part of ploy. Other example of this would be Colgate. When Oral-B decided to launch their toothpaste in the industry, Colgate, which is a market leader in the particular segment, they adopted ploy. What exactly they did? We all know Oral-B is one of the leader in oral health care. But when they announced that they will be launching their toothpaste, at that particular point of time, Coca-Cola started giving more discounts, more margins to distributors. They also focused on more sales promotion tactics. They started giving buy one get one offers. So they went aggressive. Aggressive in terms of the promotions, aggressive in terms of the marketing, aggressive in terms of giving more margins to distributors. And with this, they were able to succeed in their mission. Actually, distributors were not willing to keep Oral-B toothpaste, and Colgate was successful in their strategy. So here, Colgate used this strategy as a ploy in order to discourage their competitors, that is Oral-B, to enter into the segment. And today, if you see, how many of you have seen any Oral-B toothpaste on any of the distributor shelf? None. Despite being a market leader in oral health care, company was not able to find a position in toothpaste market. So that is what the company did, where they leveraged their ploy in order to disrupt the competitors, and they were able to succeed in doing that particular thing. Third application of this would be crisis management using a particular pattern. Now, we all know there was a time when Toyota faced a significant crisis when millions of cars were recalled back because of the safety issues. At that time, the consistent pattern, the way they answered of accepting their faults, improvising the things, accepting their mistakes, and focusing on quality control, the kind of pattern which they adopted helps to reinforce their long-time reputation of reliability, trust, and safety. So they basically handle the crisis management scenario using their pattern by being more transparent about the things which they were doing and taking right corrective measures. So they used or they handled that crisis using a pattern. Another application of 5 Ps would be cultural development with perspective. For example, we all know Tata Group is one company which is always exemplify that how cultural development can be done with perspective, which focus both on social impact as well as business success. So these are some of the applications of 5 Ps in business world. Now, the 5 Ps does not only apply to business world. It can also be used in personal strategy. How? It can help in your career road mapping as a plan. So people who are at managerial position or who are at entry levels, they can decide where they exactly want to be 5 years down the line. What is their vision for 5 years? And accordingly, they can devise a plan to achieve that vision. They can work on maybe developing some networks, skills, certifications. They can identify what are their weaknesses. They can take certain steps in order to overcome their weaknesses. So all this are part of career road mapping. So at an individual level, you can always use a plan. You can always devise a plan in order to achieve your goal. Second application at individual level would be personal branding as perspective. For example, there is an entrepreneur or a startup owner who want to become a leader in sustainability sector. That person can always upload his perspective, his thoughts, his content, reel on social media platform, and also can attend various kind of related events in order to shape the public image. So whatever your inside thoughts are, whatever your values are, you can always share your insights about it, and also you can attend such kind of events wherein you can shape your public image. And in that, you can always focus on your personal branding by focusing on your perspective. Like in this case, the perspective was sustainability. And by taking all the steps, the person can shape the public image and do his or her personal branding. Another application of 5 Ps would be finding your niche in the competitive job market as position. You can work on identifying that what could be a niche in your area, and you can position yourself as more valuable in comparison to others. For example, a marketing professional who has just identified that how AI can be used in digital marketing. That person can attain some certification and work on a particular skill in order to position himself or herself better than their competitor in that particular field. So, with positioning, you can always identify the niche on which you want to work so that you can position yourself on that particular niche and you can show that how valuable you are in comparison to others. So, in this way, your 5 Ps model can be used in both business as well as in personal strategy sense. Now, let's look at this scenario where a startup wants to enter the electric vehicle market. You are requested to use the 5 Ps framework to craft a strategic plan. So, this is another assignment which you can do in order to understand that how 5 Ps can be aligned, how it can be used to achieve a particular goal. So, the scenario which has been given to us is about a startup owner who wants to enter the EV market. So, what will be the 5 Ps you will be focusing on? What is their long-term strategy for product development? Now, their long-term strategy can focus on maybe doing some R&D innovation on technology or their battery to achieve better efficiency in comparison to others. That can be part of their plan. The plan can be with respect to scalability, like they can decide that they can enter with basic EV at entry level and later on they can expand into premium segment or commercial vehicles. The plan can also include about infrastructure partnership for EV charging stations so that they can provide some smooth services to their customers. As part of ploy, the startup owner has to think that what are the short-term competitive moves? Basically, how they can gain foothold in the industry. So, that is their goal with which they have to devise the strategy as a ploy. Now, solution can be they can go for aggressive pricing or they can undertake special campaigns to spread awareness about EVs and the kind of impact it might have on a society. They can go for some limited time offer or some kind of exclusive pre-capping. Exclusive pre-capping means wherein you can basically fix that this is the limited number of orders we are going to take. This will help to create a scarcity value which will basically attract the early innovators. So this can be a part of a ploy wherein they can work on some kind of aggressive pricing, undertaking certain kind of campaigns in order to position themselves or in order to spread awareness, or they can go for some kind of limited time offered or exclusive pre-cap in order to create scarcity value. So at least early adopters, those who are more tech savvy people, they can try that particular product. So all these are ploys, purpose to create buzz in the market. Then we have third, pattern. What consistent strategies they should follow for success? Maybe they can focus on continuous innovation, or if it is about some kind of sustainability, their pattern could be sustainable supply chain management. The way they are sourcing their raw material, is it being done in the sustainable way or not? So if they are going to develop this consistent pattern, they will be able to ensure that they are going in the right direction of achieving success. So there has to be a pattern. Here we are suggesting that pattern could be continuous innovation or it could be sustainable supply chain management. Now, fourth, about position. What market position do they want to occupy? They want to become a leader, they want to become a follower. Accordingly, they need to decide which particular strategy they should focus on. They want to position themselves as eco-friendly product or luxury segment or affordable. All these are positioning, but this owner is required to decide these things in advance before entering, so that they are framing the right strategy for that entry. And last is perspective. What values they should emphasize? So here the values can be definitely innovation, because it is something which is related with technology. So your value which you want to inculcate should always be innovation. Other, it could be sustainability, where you make sure that you are positioning yourself as a green player, and also you are taking all the steps so that all your employees, everyone in the organization is focusing on that sustainability. So that could be the value which you can build from very starting. That could be the DNA of your organization, and that could become part of your organization culture, right? So this is how we use 5 P's model in order to help this particular startup to make an entry. So by aligning the strategy with Mintzberg 5 P's framework, the EV startup can establish a strong market presence, drive innovation, and ensure long-term success. So a well-defined plan, a smart ploy, a consistent pattern, strategic position, and clear perspective can help this company to navigate the competition and to secure a position in the industry. And this is how we use 5 P's in real life scenarios. Moving forward, next to blue ocean strategy. Now, what exactly is blue ocean strategy? Before that, we should know from where this term has evolved. If you look at the present industries, what you will see? There are large number of players who are competing with each other, purpose to beat the competition. They do everything. They go for aggressive pricing, they go for aggressive marketing, they try to add more products to their portfolio, they go for product development, market development. They adopt all kind of strategies in order to beat that competition. So existing industries are overcrowded with large number of players, where there is cutthroat competition and there is red bloodbath. What is required is certain kind of outside box thinking, wherein you should be able to create a different space, and therein the concept of blue ocean strategy comes into picture. Blue ocean strategy means creating a separate segment in the existing industry to make competition irrelevant and to to create demand for your product. Here, rather than pushing your product to your customers, you try to create or you try to generate more demand for your product. That is what is known as blue ocean strategy. Let's talk about this in detail. Blue ocean strategy aims to gain competitive advantage by abandoning efforts to beat out competitors in existing markets and instead inventing a new industry or market segment that renders existing competitors irrelevant and allows a company to create new demand. This definition highlights two important things. Number one, we are creating a separate space we are making competition irrelevant because within the existing industry, we are trying to create a separate space where there is no competition. So that's why we are saying making competition irrelevant and to create demand for your product. Example, what was done by Red Bull in soft drink industry? Soft drink industry already dominated by major players like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Red Bull created a separate segment in energy drink sector which was within the existing industry but a separate space where there were no competitors. It was the first kind of a company which entered into energy drink segment. So, in the entire beverage industry, there is a soft drink industry. Within soft drink industry, they created a separate segment that was energy drink segment. So, this is what a blue ocean strategy is. Within existing industry, doing something different to create a separate segment, making competition irrelevant, so there was no competition for Red Bull as such, and creating demand for your product. If you remember, in our first module, we also did example of Southwest Airlines. That is also a type of a blue ocean strategy. What they did in airways was a kind of a revolution for that particular industry. So that was another example of blue ocean. Second example of this would be eBay in online auction industry. Auction industry was completely scattered before eBay. It was eBay which has consolidated the online auction industry. So it is again another example of blue ocean. FedEx in overnight package delivery. Before FedEx, it used to take days in order to deliver a package from one place to another. FedEx brought a revolution to this particular industry as well, and it was a type of a blue ocean strategy where they created a new segment of overnight package delivery. Uber in taxi services is another example. Taxi services, as we all know, before Uber, booking a taxi was a very cumbersome job. You were not able to trace whether driver is coming or not. There was no trust, there was no guarantee. But Uber has again changed the way businesses used to be done. The entire industry has changed after Uber and Ola are there. So that is another example of blue ocean. So when we talk about the difference between red ocean and blue ocean, in red ocean you compete in existing market space, in blue ocean you create a new market space. Here, you try to beat the competition. Here, you make competition irrelevant. In red ocean, you try to exploit existing demand. You follow a push strategy where you force your product to the customers using aggressive marketing measures. Here, you follow a pull strategy where you try to create and generate demand for your product. Here, you make the value cost trade-off. You either provide low cost or differentiation benefits to your customers. Here you break the value cost trade-off. You focus on value innovation where you provide both differentiation as well as low cost benefit to your customers. So this is what a blue ocean strategy is. We are saying blue ocean strategy which is aligned with ploy and position. As a ploy, blue ocean strategy tries to make competition irrelevant and also they change the battlefield. The main purpose is to create buzz in the market And most of the blue ocean strategies do this particular thing. So blue ocean strategy is a type of a ploy. It can also be type of a position where you are creating a separate niche, separate market space. So blue ocean strategy is both a ploy as well as position. Now moving to some other brief cases. Dell computers in PC industry. Do you guys know when Michael Dell became an entrepreneur? He was 19 years of old when he started with Dell computers. He basically followed 3 strategies for introducing Dell in PC industry. He started with direct sales business model, that is, selling computers directly to customers by eliminating all middlemen, no wholesaler, no retailer. They were selling through their own website and through telephone. That cost saving they were passing to customers in form of low prices. Second strategy they focused was customized products. Before Dell, there was no company which was customizing the personal computers. It had a very interactive website which basically allow customers to do all kind of mix and matching of their PCs. So this was again their USP. Third, JIT supply chain. Dell was a pioneer in using JIT. What exactly is JIT? Just in time, which means you are not required to keep a lot of inventory and raw material in your warehouse. You are required to have good relationship with your suppliers and distributors. So whenever you need a particular thing, you can directly order and the product will be delivered on time. It will help to save your inventory cost, your storage cost, and again that will add to the cost savings. So these were the 3 strategies which helped Michael Dell to enter into PC industry. Dell was again a kind of a blue ocean strategy in personal computer industry. Another case is of Walt Disney. As we can see that in 1984 the company was having profit of $242 million. 77% revenue was from theme parks, 22% from consumer products, 1% from film entertainment. Then the company was facing certain kind of financial crisis. At that time, Michael Eisner was appointed as the CEO of the company. He adopted 3 strategies. Number 1, he evaluated the entire environment and he found that the only sector which was growing was film entertainment. So he decided to invest the entire amount in film production. This was the time when many old movies were re-released. Company also started with the animated movies. They upgraded all their theme parks, resort, increased admission ticket price, and we can see that their profitability increases to $900 million by 1998. Thirdly, they have diversified business operation. Walt Disney is not in one sector. It's a highly diversified company. They are into movie studios, film production, TV channels, sports channels. They are into cruise. Recently they have added. It's into consumer products. They are into n number of businesses. So that is why we call it as a highly diversified company. These 3 strategies helped Walt Disney to again gain foothold in the industry. Last case which we are going to talk about is American Railroad Firm. In 1920, railroad were the main source of transportation in US. Then, other modes of transportation came up. People started using buses for shorter distances and airways for longer distances. Then company went out of the business and it turned out to be a failure. Why? Because of its myopic approach. What exactly is this myopic approach? Myopic approach means short-sightedness. When you focus only on your present and not on your future. And this is what was the mistake which was done by American Railroad Firm. They defined themselves that we are in railroad business, which is one of the biggest mistakes. If they would have defined that we are in transportation business, then it would have been easier for company to diversify with other modes of transportation coming up. but they themselves defined we are in railroad firm. When other modes were coming up, they were not able to diversify into those areas. And that is why we are saying that they failed because of their myopic approach, where you focus only on your present and not on your future. And that became one of the major reasons for the failure. Therefore, it is said that it is very important that in order to be successful in long run, we should be able to anticipate what may come in future and accordingly adjust and adapt our strategies. This is what was said by Jack Welch, ex-chairperson of GE. We cannot be successful in this ever-changing world of business by playing it safe and following the traditional rules of doing business. We have to renew ourselves constantly. And with this, we will wrap up with the second module of Strategic Management course. I hope you all have understood about the 5 P's and the concept of blue ocean strategies. Thank you everyone for your kind attention.
Understanding oneself, understanding others, understanding society at large, understanding the nature, these are all driven by basic human curiosity. We would all love to understand why things happen, what happens, what is the final outcome, why certain things fail. These are all exercises that we perform in various domains of knowledge. Therefore, knowledge in various domains, you would realize they are actually social artifacts. They have to be rooted into historical perspective, they have to be culturally salient, and there would be socio-political reasons behind this. Whether you talk with respect to engineering sciences, whether you talk with respect to physical sciences, biological sciences, social sciences, that is the reason why humanities and social sciences should be understood by all of us. The knowledge that is segregated, that is divided with respect to areas, specializations, all of them needs to be understood in its context. And what provides the context? It is the social reality. How do you correlate knowledge in a given domain with the cultural reality, with the social reality, with the socio-political compulsions? Okay, how do you understand the law of nature, okay, in its totality? And for doing that, you require the understanding of humanities and social sciences. Say for instance, if you are trying to understand the effect of a particular bacteria, a virus, any microbe, how it affects behavior, how it affects the organism, human being, you start looking at it from a pure biological point of view. If you are trying to look at a particular type of a wavelength, say for example, you are emphasizing on the understanding of the effect of radiation on human life, you are looking at things from a physical point of view. You are looking at the corresponding changes inside the body, you are looking at the physiological side of the understanding of the information. You are trying to understand why, despite knowing the risk that is inbuilt in the process, why still human beings engage into it. You are looking at it from a pure behavioral point of view. Why society at large admire things which has full of risk. You are trying to understand things from a pure sociological point of view. Why people use particular set of words to explain those experiences. You are trying to understand things from the linguistic point of view. So, there are a whole lot of things, and then finally you try to combine all of them to say that what are the guiding principles in life. Then you say you are looking at life, you are looking at humanity from a pure philosophical point of view. And this is what social sciences courses provide you. They provide the context to you in which you would be finally positioning the understanding of the knowledge in any given domain. It could be engineering, it could be sciences, it could be medical sciences, it could be social sciences stuff, it could be humanities stuff. So, contextualizing the knowledge is what humanities social science courses help you obtain.